Welcome to Midnight Whispers. Tonight's stories are not for the faint of heart. They are 100% real accounts, told by people who swore they saw or heard something or someone just outside their window, waiting. Before we begin, turn down the lights, put on your headphones, and don't forget to subscribe, because here, the darkness only gets deeper. You know that feeling when you're home alone and suddenly something just feels off. Maybe a shadow flickers past the window. Maybe you hear footsteps where no one should be. What if someone was really out there? Let's dive into 3 terrifying true stories of people who realized, too late, that they were not alone. The knock at 3:12 a.m. Emily's house was on the edge of the city in a quiet neighborhood. Her husband was on the night shift and Emily was home alone that night. It was 3:12. The house was quiet. All she heard was the hum of the refrigerator until she heard it. There was a knock on the door. It wasn't intrusive, not cheerful, just insistent. 3 slow knocks. It stopped. Then 3 more. Emily sat up in bed. Her heart was beating fast as she stared into the darkness. She approached the window, opened the curtain slightly. Nothing was visible in the light of the street lamp. But it rang again, the same way. He picked up his phone, wanted to call his wife, but gave up. He thought maybe he had heard wrong, but then the doorknob made a sound. Someone was knocking on the door, slowly, patiently, then silence. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps coming from the back of the house. Emily opened her eyes wide. It was as if someone was walking around the house. She gasped in fear. She immediately called 911. The police arrived 9 minutes later. Emily's hands were shaking as she waited for them at the door. The cops checked around. No one was there. But the muddy footprints had made a complete circuit around the house. The strangest thing, they ended under Emily's bedroom window, right in that dark spot. The police found nothing. There were no surveillance cameras. When her husband returned, Emily was still shaking. After that night, she could never sleep alone. They never knew who or what was behind that door. But at 3:12 that night, someone was there and waiting. The Man by the Mailbox. Luis was an ordinary 17-year-old boy living in a quiet town. That night, he was returning late from a friend. It was almost past midnight. The street lamps shone weakly and the wind blew dry leaves. On the side of the road, next to a rusty old mailbox, stood a man. He was not moving. He never turned his head. Luis didn't pay attention at first. Maybe it was a neighbor. Maybe he was entering his house. But the man was there, his hands at his sides, his face indistinguishable in the darkness. Luis kept walking quickly. When he got home, he was still shivering, but he tried to console himself that, "You think too much." The next night, he took the same route again, and the man was there again, next to the same box, the same motionless posture. But this time, his head was slightly bowed, as if he was listening to Luis. Luis quickened his pace, looked out of the corner of his eye, but the man was still frozen. By the 3rd night, Luis was scared. When he came home, he told his father everything. His father didn't care at first, but they looked at the security camera footage together. And here's the strangest thing. There were no men on the camera. There was only Luis. He stood in front of the mailbox, staring at one spot for a few seconds. Emptiness. Then he was walking away quickly. The man Luis saw was not in the footage, but every night at the same time, in the same place, Luis felt his presence. A few weeks later, they moved. But Luis still averts his eyes when he sees a mailbox, because sometimes it feels like he's still there. No one sees, but he knows. He never left. The bedroom window. Ashley had just graduated from university. She had rented a small but cozy apartment in the countryside, surrounded by nature. There was a small, wooded area behind the apartment. The first weeks were peaceful. In the morning, she woke up to the sound of bird song, and in the evening, she opened the window to get fresh air. Until that night. That night, Ashley stayed up late watching a movie and then started brushing her teeth. As she left the bathroom, she glanced at the bedroom window. It was dark outside. There was no moon, not even a breeze. But there was something right opposite the window. A face, pale, motionless, and very close to the glass. Ashley screamed, fell to the floor, her heart racing. She rushed to her phone and called the police. Within 3 minutes, she turned on the lights, closed the curtains, but her eyes were still in shock. Who was she? How long had he been there? The police came, searched the neighborhood. They searched the woods for tracks, but there was not even a footprint. "You're probably hallucinating," they said. But Ashley was sure. It was a face, a cold, lifeless face, and Ashley saw it with her own eyes. The next morning, she approached the window. The outer glass was fogged. Maybe the night had been cold, but in the center of the fog, there was writing, like it was written with a finger. He approached slowly, his heart pounding. There were only 2 words on the glass. "Nice smile." Ashley's insides turned cold. He was outside the window, so someone was there. It was real. From that day on, he never opened the curtains. She didn't even put a bed by the window, because he saw a face, and that face, he remembered her smile very well. If your heart's still racing, you're not alone. These stories remind us what's out there might already be watching. Which of these scared you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you have a true horror story, send it in. We might just whisper it next. Thanks for watching Midnight Whispers. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you made it through without looking out your window. Until next time, stay safe. And never ignore a knock at the door after midnight.